Hola a todos! I've got my final A-level Spanish speaking exam coming up in just a few weeks. So in this video, I'm going to spend around 5 minutes planning each of the 2022 speaking cards. I think I'll go through the 6 year 12 topics in this video, and then in the future video, the 6 year 13 topics. A reminder that I've got a mind map on each of these 12 modules on astarspanish.com made specifically for the speaking exam. I've got the mark scheme ready to go over here, so we can have a look at what the possible content is for each speaking card. This is my first time seeing the 2022 cards, hopefully they're not too difficult, and if you want to download these, they're linked in the description. Vale, vamos. So first one is going to be on the first topic, los valores tradicionales y modernos. Let's read through the card. So la importancia de la familia. We've got a picture here of a family. Um, vale, so 3 questions. The first one is always asking about your opinion or like your reaction to the card. In this case, basically, what is your reaction to this information? And then 2 more questions about like your opinion and stuff. So, el 15 de mayo de cada año se celebra el Día Internacional de la Familia para sensibilizar a la gente de la importancia de la familia y sus valores. So, basically, 15th of May every year. Does it say the country? It doesn't say what country it is. But they celebrate the like International Day of Family to raise awareness of the importance of family and the like family values. Un sondeo, which I believe is a survey in Mexico, ha revelado que más de 80% de la población mexicana está satisfecha con su vida familiar. 80% we can think is that like high or low. I think that's quite high actually. Um, so they are sort of satisfied with their family life. That's a good thing. Para ser feliz, una familia no necesita cosas materiales, sino amor entre ellos. So here you can argue that you agree with this. Otros aspectos importantes para la felicidad, the happiness de una familia son la generosidad, la honestidad, el respeto, la igualdad y la tolerancia. Vale. So let me create a text box and I'll start typing some just bullet points answering sort of planning this response. So you get 5 minutes in the exam to read through the card and actually like plan some sort of response. So let's do that now. So first question, always use like the subjunctive, for example. So I'll say, for example, me, what can I say? Me choca, so it shocks me choca que más del 80% de la población mexicana, sea, do you say or no? Estar, we use este, satisfecha con su vida familiar. Creo que, and then I'll just say like, oh, I think it's a really high number compared to maybe other countries that you know of, or like European countries and stuff. También podemos decir, estoy de acuerdo, and then talk about the different points they make here about generosity and honesty in families. You can agree with that, you can say. And then es muy importante, or you can say, talking about the 15th of May, the International Day. Can we use a subjunctive here if we say, for example, es importante que existe este día internacional de la familia porque, and then give some reasons. Vale, okay, let's move on to the next one. En tu opinión, ¿por qué juega la familia un papel muy importante en la vida de los hispanos? Okay, reasons that family is important. Talk about emancipation, like when you in the textbook there's a bit about the age where people often, like in Spain, where children sort of grow up and move out of home. That age is quite late compared to like European countries. So how can we word that here? For example, okay, let's think of a statistic here. So for example, I think ocho de cada like 10 jóvenes aún, o jóvenes menores de 30 años aún viven con sus padres. porque una razón es la vivienda en España es muy cara. Um, and then the statistic of, actually no, okay, so 8 out of 10, yeah. ¿Qué más podemos decir? ¿Por qué juega la familia un papel muy importante en la vida de los hispanos? That's, I think, one of the good statistics there. So let's move on to the next one actually for now. Time is running out very quickly. So I'll probably spend around 6, 7 minutes maybe on each one, just showing you like how I would plan each one, and then making sure I know enough content to talk about each module, each topic. So, ¿qué diferencias hay entre las familias del mundo hispánico de ahora y las del pasado? For example, we can talk about hay más tipos de familia hoy en día, and then the different types. So we have, for example, una familia monoparental, con un madre o una madre soltera o soltero, soltera, um, una familia, o ¿cómo se dice? Like, I think it's una unión de hecho. I believe that's like a civil partnership, or one of them is a civil partnership anyway. Um, we can talk about es más común para los jóvenes viven con sus padres, más mujeres trabajan también en el mundo laboral, menos tiempo en la casa. Talk about babysitters. ¿Cómo se dice babysitters? Not sure about that one. I talk about quizás los abuelos a veces tienen que cuidar a los niños si los padres están trabajando. Okay. So all these various reasons and various differences between the sort of life or like family life, so back in the day, and then compared to now. Vale? Good. I think that's mostly what I would say for this card on this topic. Um, yeah, so let's now look at the mark scheme and see what the mark scheme says if we scroll down to the page. Vale, so possible content for tarjeta A, this one up here, vale. So you can pause to read this more thoroughly. I'm just going to have a quick skim read through it and then see if there's anything I missed out on or things that like points I did make. So on the whole, I talked about most things. I talked about the things in the card, the 15th of May, the International Day of Family, um, the statistic of 80% of Mexicans satisfied with family life. Three things I didn't mention I've highlighted in yellow here. So the traditions of church and the whole like Lethia and the religion as well, how that plays a part in society. The fact that the birth rate has gone down. I remember there's a statistic comparing sort of European birth rate and birth rate in Spain is much lower in Spain, and also same-sex couples. We didn't talk about that, although I did mention sort of single parents and divorced couples and that sort of thing. So I'm going to make a note of these three things just to make sure I revise these and probably learn like one statistic for each category, each like topic here. Just so in future I can use these as like evidence in the exam. But I think on the whole that's quite good. Let's move back and do another one. So tarjeta B. So now to look at El Ciberfacio, the second topic. Well, it's around 5 minutes to plan this card. Have a read through it and plan the card. So, mensaje con controversia en Twitter sobre Feliz Día de Reyes, the Day of the Kings, the Three Kings. Los Reyes Magos son parte de la Navidad española, dos Reyes blancos y un Rey negro Baltasar. Las felicitaciones de Navidad para el 2020 del partido político de extrema derecha Vox. En Cádiz causó polémica. Los tres Reyes Magos en la foto eran blancos. Se hizo viral en cuestión de minutos en Twitter. Muchos acusaron a Vox de usar el Internet para mandar mensajes inaceptables, pero Vox respondió que fue un simple error. Vale, so Vox being the sort of right-wing party. Vale. So let's have a look at answering these questions. ¿Cómo reaccionas tú? So same question as the last time. How do you react to this information? Again, using the subjunctive, um, we can say no. Let's see something else. No me prende que la o el partido político Vox o haya publicado es- esta imagen o una imagen, is it uno una? I think it's una imagen um, de tres de los tres de it should be de tres reyes magos blancos. Um, and then talk about because you know Vox is being like a very sort of racist party and stuff. Um, link information up into there. The main thing is using the subjunctive for this first question. Um, también no me también hmm, también no creo que la reacción del público fue algo que fue inaceptable o fue sorprendente, ya que whatever. Yeah. También no creo que la reacción has a double C there. Del público fue sorprendente or shouldn't be fair, should be the imperfect subjunctive, which would be fuera, right? Yeah. Yeah, vale. Okay, next one, let's keep it going. ¿Crees que el uso de las redes sociales en el mundo hispánico genera mucha polémica? So this is where it links to the actual topic of some cyberspace. Um, desde mi punto, or let's just use something simple like a mi ver, simple, like, in my opinion, a mi ver, hay ejemplos donde las redes sociales generan mucha polémica, especialmente entre los famosillos, pero and then list some advantages of ciberespacio. For example, we can talk about hacer amigos nuevos, también comunicar con extranjeras o familia. Vale. And the final question, ¿qué otros peligros hay con el uso de la tecnología en el mundo hispánico? So, dangers, daña o el medio ambiente. And they also talk about the case study of Móvil and like recycling in Spain of the technology. I'm going to make a note of that actually, Móvil, to talk about that if I would sort of do this, in the real exam. So it harms the environment. ¿Qué más? Peligros, we have el ciberacoso y problemas de salud como fatiga visual, I believe it's called. Vale, so that's sort of the main things I'll say for this question. Anything I'm missing? What can we add more about dangers? We've said ciberacoso, el fraude, and then like your opinion, for example, si fuera un padre, no daría un móvil a mi hijo a una edad menos or edad temprana or something like that. Some sort of opinion phrase using the subjunctive there. Vale. So this is the one on ciberacoso, no, sorry, ciberespacio. Vale, now let's look at the mark scheme. Here it is. So I'm going to have a little read through this and see points I'd made and points I could have made to do even better. Vale, so a couple of things I didn't mention actually. This bit down here, actually about mental health as well. I talked about physical health, but obviously mental health has impact as well. It's impacted by social media and stuff. Piracy. In Spain, there's an article or like a text in the textbook about, I'm pretty sure in Madrid, the piracy rates and stuff. And then two things, for example, here, social media can be used to talk about controversial topics and to organize demonstrations. So this sort of links to the final sort of year 2 module, los movimientos, that they can be organized through social media. Um, and the rest of it I sort of mostly did mention. Vale? Okay, let's go on to the next one, Module 3. Vale, so this one is about la igualdad de los sexos, Module 3, genders of inequality or equality. Igualdad en las cocinas del País Vasco. Let's read this text then. El gobierno vasco ha introducido nuevas reglas para la construcción de nuevos apartamentos. Las cocinas deben tener espacio para un mínimo de 2 personas. Interesting. So, new laws about kitchens must have sort of space for 2 people. El objetivo es que sean suficientemente grandes para que ambas personas en una pareja trabajen juntas en la cocina y comparten las tareas domésticas. Good idea, I think. En el pasado solo cocinaba y hacía los quehaceres en la mujer, pero ahora eso ha cambiado. Vale. Again, same question 3 times in a row now. ¿Cómo reaccionas tú ante esta información? Let's answer that one first then. So, again, quite often using the subjunctive of this first question, you can say me alegre mucho que el gobierno vasco, haya introducido estas leyes, ya que motivan los o like motivan ambas personas en una pareja que trabajar motivan ambas personas en una pareja trabajar, I think if you a trabajar juntos en la cocina. Estoy de acuerdo que cosas han cambiado y creo que los hombres deben participar en la cocina tanto como las mujeres. That's, I think, quite a good sort of 2 sentences you can say in this. Obviously, these are just bullet point notes. Well, I've written a full sentence there, full 2 sentences, but normally you would just write bullet point notes. You don't have time to write that much detail in just the 5 minutes you have to prepare these cards. So, ¿crees que el papel del hombre y de la mujer en las sociedades del mundo hispánico ha cambiado? Okay, here you can say sí. Talk about en el mundo laboral y cómo las mujeres trabajan más, pero también existe una brecha, ¿cómo se dice? Una brecha de género, ya que las mujeres ganan the number here is 37,4. Obviously, the number is like not a specific number, it changes depending on what statistic you look at. But in the textbook, I think it says 37,4% menos que los hombres. How else has the role of women and the men changed in society? Los hombres hacen más quehaceres y cuidan más sus niños. Another way has changed. También more generally talking about los derechos de la comunidad LGTB, y como también han cambiado. Vale. So just points to mention here. Next bit says, ¿qué más sabes sobre otros cambios que ha habido en los países hispanos para lograr la igualdad entre los dos sexos? So that's where we talked about above. La homosexualidad is one thing to mention here. También como más conciencia sobre la violencia doméstica y el abuso sexual. And then just to give another case study, for example, la primera mujer en, en ser la alcaldesa de Madrid fue Ana Botella, su nombre Ana Botella, en 2011. Vale? So just giving different case studies and examples. Most of these I've gotten from my mind map that I've sort of learnt since making them. Okay, one thing I also have been forgetting to do until now is the questions. You have to ask 2 questions to your teacher throughout sort of this entire card. So let's try and plan at least 1 or 2 questions that we can ask about this topic. For example, or for example, ¿estás optimista? Is it estás or eres? Let's be formal. So, ¿está optimista de sobre la igual, igualdad, ¿vale? Está optimista sobre la igualdad entre los dos sexos en el futuro? And then another question you can possibly ask as well could be cree que, o cuál es su opinión sobre sobre quién debería hacer los quehaceres en una casa? Or you can talk about, instead of quehaceres, el cuidado de los niños. So who should be the one to sort of take care of the kids? And then sometimes it's like the grandparents or sort of the mother or the father or both. Vale. So that's all of that for module 3. Let's now look at the mark scheme. Here we go. So, again, sort of have a read through this, pause the video if you want. Vale. So just to check, one thing I could have and should have mentioned is the Franco's dictatorship and how that affects sort of the timeline. And here it says, it's surprising that it's taken so long since Franco's dictatorship in Spain to reach a more equal society. And then also, yeah, the move away from these strict traditional values means now there's more equality in society. Vale? Okay, let's move on then to the next one. Module 4 is La influencia de los ídolos. Eva Perón, el icono femenino más poderoso de Argentina. Vale, let's read this one then. Eva Duarte nació en una familia pobre. A los 15 años se mudó a Buenos Aires para ser actriz. En 1945, Eva se casó con Juan Perón, quien luego se convirtió en presidente de Argentina. Eva tuvo mucha influencia en la política de su país, sobre todo ayudando a los más pobres, good, y quienes la adoraban. So basically her fans, and then she's helping the poor people. También mejoró la integración de la mujer en el mundo laboral y consiguió el voto femenino. A lot of things I'm going to highlight actually here. 3 things she did. Ayudando a los más pobres, integración de la mujer y consiguió el voto femenino. 3 good things we can say that she did, and you know our opinion on that. Again, 4th time now, same question. ¿Cómo reaccionas tú ante esta información? So vamos, we can say, me sorprende que haya, que Eva haya cumplido o logrado tanto para las mujeres y los pobres, ha mejorado just copy that how it is. So mejoró la integración de la mujer y en el mundo laboral y consiguió. You shouldn't repeat the information actually like from the text directly. There's no point in doing that. But I've already written it, so too late. But yeah, when you're speaking, you don't normally don't want to just repeat everything that's in the text. Give your opinion, use the subjunctive, that sort of thing. Um, Anyway, let's move on. The next question is, en general, ¿qué crees que los ídolos del mundo hispano deberían hacer para ser admirados como buen ejemplos a seguir? So what do you think Hispanic celebrities should do to be admired as good people to follow? So, a mi juicio, los famosos deberían, no deberían. We can talk about using sort of swear words and talking about politics as well. So, a mi juicio, los famosos no deberían um, hablar sobre la política ni, ni usar palabrotas, creo que, con palabrotas, ya que pueden influenciar o influir a sus seguidores. Okay, let's focus on a few more case studies here. Por ejemplo, Dani Rovira, oops, and this one is again mentioned in the textbook. So Dani Rovira hizo un chiste sobre Ibiza, causó polémica. So that's one case study we could mention. Other things. Actually, let's just move on to the final question then. So, ¿qué dice? ¿Conoces a otros ídolos hispanos que estén ayudando a los más desventajados? Here we can mention Shakira y su fundación de pies descalzos. También tenemos, ¿quién más? Quizás we can say Salma Hayek también. Es conocida para su trabajo con temas tabús. Vale. And here you can add sort of any other examples you know. También Rosalía, también other examples. Vale, let's have a look at the mark scheme now for this one on module 4. Well, so this one has, for these final two questions, a lot of different examples that I didn't even know about, nor did I talk about. So I'm probably going to go back to my mind map after this video and update it as well. So again, on my website, astarspanish.com, I'll put the sort of latest, most up-to-date mind maps for all of these different modules. I'll add some of these more examples as well. So I talked about Salma Hayek and Shakira, both mentioned. You don't need to know every single example, just to have a couple that you can use. And then, yeah, well, so the rest of it, you can again pause the video to have a read through all of this. Messi and Nadal, I mentioned in my mind map as well. So sports people, athletes and stuff, being good role models. Vale, let's keep going, let's keep moving. On to the next one, module 5, which is la identidad regional en España. So, el Día de las Islas Baleares, vamos a leer esto. Cada año, el 1 de marzo en Mallorca y en otras islas a su alrededor, celebran con alegría el Día de las Islas Baleares. Se organizan más de 300 actividades para que la gente disfrute de este día tan importante para la identidad de la región. So, that is good. Shows or brings ayuda a la economía. There's a similar card to this about I think in Galicia los fiestas de vino y todo eso, that also, similar to this, helps the economy having all these activities going on. hay concursos de baile folclórico entre grupos de las islas, espectáculos de caballos en las calles, mercadillos, degustaciones, which is like tastings, de comida típica, y conciertos de música regional. So all the different parts of the identity of las islas, they promote sort of thing. So slightly different here. ¿Qué nos dice esta información? Still would recommend using the subjunctive, but it's more like what does the information tell us or tell you? So, esta información nos dice sobre los 300, los actividades que se celebran en el Día de las Islas. Esta información nos dice sobre las actividades que se celebran en el Día de las Islas Baleares, como, um, los conciertos y las degustaciones de la comida típica. Me alegre que las islas festejan tanto su identidad regional, ya que, o dado que, en mi opinión, es muy importante celebrar la identidad, concepto de identidad de cada región en España. ¿Vale? Vale, next we can talk about, next question, ¿crees que es importante celebrar días regionales de este tipo en cada región española? Basically what I said above, sí. And then, por ejemplo, again, straight giving into different case studies and examples. Por ejemplo, el carnaval en las Islas Canarias, podemos decir. And we can say about the advantages and disadvantages. Por ejemplo, causa mucho ruido y peleas, all this other stuff as well. Vale. So you'd say yes, sí, creo que es muy importante. ¿Por qué? Y, por ejemplo, está como exitoso en estas regiones. Last question, ¿qué sabes de otros aspectos que marcan la identidad regional de las distintas regiones españolas? So, la música, la comida y el arte y qué más. Los costumbres de cada, so some examples of each different region in Spain. Por ejemplo, y también las idiomas form quite a big part of this entire sort of topic. So, let's start with los idiomas. Muchos o muchas comunidades autónomas tienen idiomas tienen idiomas regionales y por ejemplo Galicia, so this makes sense, Galicia, Cataluña, también el País Vasco, también. Vale. So that's talking about languages, la música y el baile también. For example, is this just in Spain? Yes, okay, fine. El flamenco actually. I was going to say también el tango and stuff like that, but that would be in sort of South America. El flamenco in Andalucía. Vale. And that is the last question as well. So let's now have a look at the mark scheme. I think I've said a good amount for this card. Let's have a look at the mark scheme and see if there's anything I'm missing. Vale. So on the whole, quite good. A few things missing stuff about economy and how like tourism, these activities bring tourism. Again, I didn't mention here, so if they help the economy, I could have so written that in words as well. Um, Regional dishes, we spoke about languages, the regional dishes as well. For example, el gazpacho in Andalucía, and then the dances they mentioned here as well, la sardana, la sevillana y la jota también. Vale. Um, Now to move on to our final module 6, el patrimonio cultural. So, Picasso pinta la guerra. So the war, this is Guernica, his like piece about this war. So let's read the information here. El Guernica, un cuadro enorme pintado en blanco y negro por Picasso, es un emblema icónico que une el arte con la Guerra Civil Española. Se encuentra en el Museo, das Uri Museum, Reina Sofía de Madrid. Fue la respuesta de Picasso a lo que ocurrió cuando Franco bombardeó el pueblo de Guernica en el País Vasco en 1937, matando a unas 1.600 personas en un día de mercado. Los símbolos en el cuadro nos comunican los pensamientos del artista. So, ¿cómo reaccionas tú ante esta información? ¿Piensas que el arte y la literatura nos pueden ayudar a comprender la historia y la cultura del mundo hispánico? ¿Y qué otros ejemplos del patrimonio cultural en el mundo hispánico te han impresionado? So we can answer these questions then. ¿Cómo reaccionas tú ante esta información? Try and use the subjunctive here again. So, me sorprende. Oh, yeah, let's use me sorprende que este cuadro esté en el museo, esté en un museo en Madrid, ya que muestra la muestra, muestra la importancia de esta obra y la conciencia de lo que ocurrió, using the words in the text itself, lo que ocurrió en la Guerra Civil Española, sorry. La Guerra Civil Española. Also talking about some of the numbers there as well. So for example, like the 1,600 people that were killed, you can also mention that as well. The main thing is pick up the different main points of the text and show that you get out of 5 marks this first question actually. You get 5 marks for showing that you understand the text and you've read all the information and looked at the picture basically. Next one here, piensas que el arte and literature can help us to understand the history and culture claramente. And then giving examples. For example, so a lot of the work by Frida Kahlo shows her life, her emotions, and then from Diego Rivera as well. So when they were living in New York, I believe. So art that in that way, art does show reflect history and culture of the Spanish world. Los edificios I'll mention here as well, even though it just says art there. For example, El Valle de los Caídos. También la Sagrada Familia. So various buildings that come under this El Patrimonio Cultural, this cultural heritage of different Spanish-speaking countries. ¿Y qué otros ejemplos del patrimonio cultural en el mundo hispánico te han impresionado? Here I would actually just talk about baile. So el flamenco in Andalucía, as I mentioned earlier on. El tango de Argentina, tango de Argentina. También like la salsa, maybe, not sure. Anyway, so two dance forms, two dance types of dances. And then what else can you say about otros ejemplos? We mentioned dance, we've mentioned music. Have we said music? For example, I guess Salvador Dali. as another artist. You can say, has sort of left an impression on me. Que te han impresionado. Vale. I think we spent enough time on this card. Let's have a look at the mark scheme and what different like possible content is for this card. Here we go. So one thing I definitely didn't mention is the Arabic influence on the buildings, for example, La Alhambra, and then Machu Picchu in Peru, and all these sort of landmarks as well. And if you want to read the rest of this, you can pause the video to read that. But that's the end of this video. I'll be doing the same thing for the A2 cards, these UR13 cards, in a future video. So subscribe to see that video when it comes out. Go to astarspanish.com/A level to download these mind maps on these topics, and good luck for your exams. Adios.